Hello, hello. Here is Veronica from the Human Design Rave Festival team, and I'm so glad to have as our first guest after the festival a very sweet guest who gave us an amazing experience with telling us um, the mystical part of human design in very interesting way as a short story, which was so magical. Um, and I couldn't be there all the time. I afterwards listened to the recording, but I heard from people how her face was changing with every character she was bringing in the story. So this was amazing experience. I'm saying hello to Bambaji, Hale. Hi.
Hi, Veronica. Lovely to see you. What a wonderful introduction. Thank you. Great recognition.
It was amazing. We had so much fun during those 6 days in the festival. And especially with the theme you brought there, which is part of the cosmology series, the gray courses, which Raul who brought. But would you please tell us something more about what is cosmology? Why is it gray courses? What is this?
The cosmology is an amazing part of the whole system, and it's one that's often overlooked because it is mystical and it doesn't have the same sort of basis in the fact of the experimentation that we can get from all of the other material like the LYDs and the PTLs and all of that kind of thing, where we can experiment and we can have that concrete result from it. With the Rave Cosmology material, there's an awful, no, it's not awful, there's a lot more material that we have to just sort of accept and take in. It could be a bit mind candy-ish in a way, but it's so delicious and it's so juicy, and it takes us into the mythology of everything. So the beginning before the start, right the way through to what happens when we're not on this planet anymore, and where the kernel of what was humanity goes to, what it becomes. So it's this massive journey that is just not provable, but is enormous fun. And actually, we start to see some of the proof in it because of the 2027 material that many people are familiar with, and the changes that are happening in our world as planning goes and Phoenix comes in, and we're starting to see, oh, actually, this is real, this is really happening. And so all of these things come through in the cosmology material.
But for people who don't know what is this change of 2027 coming, could you tell us some more?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we live in a background frequency, and this is a global background frequency, and it changes approximately every 412 years. So for the last 400 and so on years, we've been in what's called the cross of planning, and this has brought institutions, and it's brought the whole tribal way of the bargain and how we live together in this world, and we can see how it's built up, everything for the benefit of the tribe, whether that's our small tribe or the global tribe these days. So the banking, the education, religion, medicine, all of that kind of thing has all been built up a lot in these last 400 years. But what we've got in 2027 is the background frequency is changing. It's like the wheel is going to turn and we move into a new background frequency where it's out of the tribe and more about the individual. It's more about survival for the individual, coming to a place of awareness, hopefully. It's could be seen as being more selfish, but it could be enlightened selfishness. This is something Ra talked about, where we get to know ourselves so well that what we're able to offer from that is a way for other people to also be empowered to be themselves and to really, flourish in the world. So it's not a closed, tight selfishness. It's a much more encompassing. But also part of the prediction of 2027 is that a new species is coming, and this is the rave. And this has been part of our whole purpose on this planet. Humanity's purpose is eventually getting us to the point where we can bring forward this new species. And so this is another huge part of the Rave Cosmology material. And it's part of what human design is all about.
So you're starting a course, a cosmology course, which is going to comprise out of 7 classes, and each class is going to focus on a different theme. Do you want to tell us more about each of those 7 themes?
Yes, I would. I would love to. And there are 7 modules altogether in this Rave Cosmology material. So what I'm doing is just teaching like an introduction to each one so that people get a feel for what Rave Cosmology actually is. And each class is going to be about 60 to 90 minutes. There'll be lots of time for questions and answers and talks and all sorts. And I would like it to be a real sort of conversation because I'm tribal. I don't want to be just telling people what it is. I want a conversation about it, you know. So it goes through the module 1 is called the Bantu, and this is the real mythology. This is the beginning before the start, you know, it's the mechanics of what this biverse is all about. And all of this information came from the voice. And part of what I find so fascinating about this is that it was the first information that Ra got when he had his encounter. It wasn't tagged on the end, you know, kind of, oh, well, we've got 20 minutes. Let me tell you something else. This was the first information that the voice gave him, was all of this rave cosmology stuff, which tells me that it's really important. And it brings a real balance to this, to the more intellectual side, if you like. It's that the sort of the yin to the yang. It's a really beautiful way of measuring it in that sense. So anyway, the first one is the Bantu. The second is called the Mystical Way, and it explores a sort of a framework, if you like, for human spirituality and our relationship to God, and then what drives us towards awakening, why we have this deep drive, this fuel to wake up. The third is called Dying, Death, and the Bardo, and this gives us a sense of why our death is so important, why the way we approach dying and death is equally as important as approaching how we come into this world, and what actually the mechanics of the Bardo are. The fourth one, this is the 2027 semester, and this is the one that looks at the change of the cycle and some of the cycles that we've been before and what they've brought to us. And it looks at this new transauric creature that is coming in, this new species that will be maybe spiritually aware, because 2027 also brings the solar plexus into its fullness for the new people anyway, not for us, but it sort of makes the solar plexus into a spiritual awareness center instead of just a motor. 5 is called Brahma's Long Night, and this discusses really what humanity can expect in the future. It looks at the next 3 cycles that are coming that take us up to that sort of end point, because it's been predicted we've got 1300 years left before the planet is done with us and the new thing comes in. And Brahma's Long Night is part of that. It's a 200 million year journey from life on Earth ending to where it ends up on its new planet, or its new moon, really. And then 6 is called Profile, Purpose, and Function. And this looks at the patterns of being and the complexity of purpose. And it gives us a new way of looking at profile, because all of our profiles are very, very powerful, but they also tend to be quite generic. You know, all 5 ones have that sort of heretic investigator. The 2-4 is the hermit opportunist. And we don't go much deeper than that generally. But this class takes it much deeper and looks into the color, and it looks into the tone of it, and it gives you a much richer sort of sense of what profile is all about. And then the last one is called The Nature of Stars, and this is an insight into the neutrino ocean. And the whole program looks at about 11 stars, but I will just look at a couple and delve into those and see what they've got to teach us.
Amazing. This is a huge material.
Yeah.
And you bring it with such easiness and spirituality that it doesn't look so scary, because our small human mind has a little bit, let's say, difficulty with grasping something so huge. And so, guys, if you're interested in basically the history of our world, the history of the universe, if you have interest in all those astronomical and star events, if you want to know more about how everything started, then what was our mystical way through all of that, connected to all the religions, and what was pushing us to explain ourselves the world we're living in. If you're interested on what happens after our incarnation in a body finishes, and we have the chance to have our Bardo trip. This is extremely interesting, but also very needed part of human design, as we know that um, we have not really been dying correctly, and there is a starvation for information back to our when we go back to our crystals. And part of the reason this information came to us at this time was exactly that. So it's very, very important and huge topic: death, dying, and Bardo. Um, and as also, if you need to be at peace with the recent death of a loved one, Bambaji can also help you with actually a death reading, right?
Yeah, yes, a Bardo reading. Yeah.
There is such a thing. So you have to know the hour of birth and the hour of death. That's very important to have this. And then we come to the huge change of 2027, the change of the background frequency. So all about these new species, which were actually in their bodies. So we have all those kind of traits sleeping in us, and it will give you a much deeper understanding of what to expect. And um, even more important, what our children can expect.
Exactly.
We need to prepare them to what
Yes.
is coming. And then the future. This is so engaging our minds and looking into the distant future and seeing how it all comes up together. It's a very, very interesting way. And honestly, guys, I'm telling you this because I'm also studying for a cosmologist. So I know I actually already am through with 5 of them. So it's an amazing topic, an amazing amount of information. Um, Human design is about experimenting, but cosmology is the real story behind it. It's if you see that you are too much in your mind thinking of things that don't matter, you can divert your attention to something really interesting and entertaining, and that's cosmology. So, guys, if you see that you're thinking too much, you can direct it into something um, prolific. It can be interesting, and it can give you a lot of answers. And not only it can give you a lot of new themes to discuss with your fellow human designers or other people, because this is information which is valid for uh, basically for any conversation to the past or to the future or to what's happening with life. It's really the philosophical part of human design. And then profile, purpose, and function. Oh, wow, that's a big one. That's a big one, to really be able to see what's beneath everything and your life purpose. And then you finish with the nature of stars, which is practically the bigger picture of this whole biverse that we're living in, and how we're being um, showered in this neutrino ocean that we live in, and how things work. So it's a very inspiring and interesting journey that Bambaji has prepared for you. And having touched her way of presenting the information is really unique. It's not about the theory, it's about um, a holistic picture somehow. Bambaji really can guide you into this new information in her very unique way. So you're really welcome to join her on this journey
Very well.
through the stars and the mysticism of human design. And uh, your idea, Bambaji, actually is after you go through this journey, is to maybe see what the biggest interest is and give a slightly bigger course around this topic, right?
Yes, that's what I was thinking, because I know not everybody is interested in every single one. So it might be that there's just one module that is more popular than other, because you don't have to join the whole series. You can if you want to, but you could also just buy one if you want to and just dip into one of the classes. If there's one that particularly draws you, then that's absolutely fine. So I thought at the end I would see which one has had the most positive feedback, which one is the one most people find the most interesting, and then I will craft something to offer from that.
Mm-hmm. And what was, you already mentioned that this was the first information Ra received, but what was it that made you become a cosmologist teacher? It's a
One of
long
the first
study.
things I heard, well, apart from all the rave thing, I mean, that was a big part of it. The death, dying, and Bardo, I found amazing. And I was told when I had my first reading, oh, there's a lot of death in your chart. And I thought, oh, really, what does that mean? But actually, I do think about death quite a lot. I don't, maybe it's my gates, my personality sun, and I also have the gate of endings, in the 42. So I have those sorts of things. But also, I'm in the cross of Maya, and my quarter is mutation. So I am here for that sort of transformative, mutative, bringing things to a close in a way that actually makes sense for people and can support my tribe. I have that one tribal channel. It's all I've got in my chart. So I'm here to support my tribe in as many ways as I can. So bringing the death, dying, and Bardo thing, that's for me was my initial thing of like, yes, we have to learn how to die properly. We have to find a way of our personality crystals going home. They have to go home because otherwise we lose that information. So that was one of the first things. And then I read just a very, very tiny thing on the nature of stars that said the stars know your name. And for me, that was like, wow. And then, yeah, I just had to know more.
Wow, that's very interesting. So, for those who don't know, right now we are experiencing the past 400 years as a background frequency, the cross of planning and the cross of Maya. And then we're going after 2027, the background frequency to the cross of this, changing to the cross of the sleeping phoenix and the cross of penetration. So people who actually carry one of those four crosses are called people bridges because they bridge us to the new times or from the old times to the new times. And it turns out, Bambaji, that you're actually one of those people bridges to bring us to the new.
Well, I'm
So,
not on, yeah, I am. I got so many of the crosses and of the keys and locks that we would talk about when we look at this particular module. I've got, there are what? There are 8 altogether. So there are 16 and I've got 14 of them. So it's like I am very invested in this time and in what it means to be here as we change this cross and this the background frequency, because I don't have very much going on in the new frequencies. So I'm very much a creature of what we've got now and how do we meet what's coming and how do we meet it as ourselves. And all of this is it feels like part of why I'm here teaching and sort of offering this material. So there is a way to move into this future, which can look very frightening. And Ra, of course, was on the cross of Clarion and he had the 51 and he was like shock, shock, shock. And so he made it seem like quite a terrifying prospect that was coming at us down the line. And there are definitely elements of that that could play out like that, but also we can meet it from a place of love as well for ourselves, really find that place in ourselves where we're not terrified because we're equipped to meet whatever it is that's coming. And it feels like that's part of what I have with the cross that I have and the other activations that I can offer this. And Ra always said this information, as you said, is for the children. But he also said at the beginning of the Rave Cosmology material that once you've been through all of the modules, you'll be able to recognize a Rave child. And these are the new beings that are coming in and recognizing them both so the human children will be able to navigate the world that's coming, but so there'll be a recognition of these rave children, what they need. They're not necessarily going to have anything to do with us. It's a bit like Cro-Magnon and Neanderthal. It's like not a necessarily interactive relationship, but we still need to recognize them. They're coming into our world. We still need to find a way of supporting them to get to maturity somehow, because without that, our experiment comes to nothing. Our experiment as humanity. The Rave have to come in. They have to establish whatever that means for us.
And we also have to learn how to live next to them.
Yes.
Yeah, which is a huge thing. So guys, you have here a great opportunity with 2-4 projector guide who can guide you through this information in her own unique and I would say very warm and loving way. Exactly opposite to the shocking and cold manifester way of Ra. Which is a great combination, I think, of both things, the shocking information and the mildness of how Bambaji deals with this information. So you're more than welcome to join her on this course. Can you please tell us the details? When does it
Yes,
start and how long?
it starts on May the 28th at 7
So
o'clock UK time.
exactly in 10 days. You have 10 days
10 days.
to decide. And if you're emotional, then you can always choose a class to take part in one of those classes a little bit later. Yeah, right. It's true. You said you
Exactly
can
right.
take.
Yes, you can either buy the whole series of 7 classes is £490, but you can buy individual classes for £85 if that's what you'd rather do and not invest in the whole thing. It's completely up to you. Whatever is correct, whatever your strategy and authority lead you to, no argument from me on that. So May the 28th, and it's every 3 weeks. I'm doing another one. And yeah, and that's it. You can contact me on cosmology@bambaji.com, and I can give you all the details and take you through the registration process if that's what you choose. You're very welcome. You are invited and informed that it will be very interesting. And would you like to come?
Yeah. Would you like to come, guys, and join? If you do, I'm going to leave all the information under this video so you can contact Bambaji and she will give you all the details. And if you have any questions or any concerns, you can always contact her. So the prices were given in British pounds, but you will be able to transfer that to your currency.
Mhm.
And so it's every 3 weeks. This means
So it's 21 weeks altogether. So it's a 3-week journey. So because there's a lot of information in each one, it gives it time to settle, gives anyone a chance to just think about, okay, have I got a question on the previous one? And then we can talk about that too. So yeah.
actually, to become a cosmologist, you need to study around 2.5 years, guys. So this is a very serious information, and it's a serious study. And Bambaji cosmologist, so she went through all of this, and she's now ready to give you and share this information with you in her very loving tribal way. So you're more than welcome to join. Please feel informed, invited, and initiated to come. Do you want to? Here we are, waiting for you. Well, thank you for this nice introduction to your course. Maybe you want to say a few words about yourself and your process in human design. When did you meet actually human design?
6 years now I've been in design. So, and all that time studying and getting deeper into it and working out what I love, what's really going to work for me, what I've got in, what I resonate to within it. 2-4 projector, as you say, with just the channel of community, the 3740. So I'm emotional. And I live in the UK with my husband, who's a self-projected projector, 5-1, and we live our experiment, as much as we can. We keep ourselves on track, and it's my life, it's my passion, and I live and breathe human design.
Great. So if you resonate to Bambaji, please feel welcome to contact her either for this course, for one of those lectures, or if you would like to dive deeper in your profile and purpose, or you want to have a death reading of a loved one.
And I teach LYDs and ABC and Rave Cartography too. I've got all of those, so I've got quite a rich basis to draw on for anything that I can point people in other directions. I have a lot of other contacts now, of course, so my network works. If I don't know, I will give you to someone who does. So it's yes, it's always that too, all that sharing and support.
Which reminds me actually that we didn't mention who is this course for? Can a newbie come to your course actually?
I would say yes. I try my feeling is to make it as accessible as possible, and as lots of time for questions and answers. I think someone who doesn't know anything about human design might struggle a little bit with some of the terminology. But if you've had a reading or you've just had some study yourself into what the basics are, you've done an LYD, then that would be fine. And you can't study it, I know, unless you've got cartography, so you've had to have gone through that. But as long as you've got a basic idea of what's going on, I think you'll be able to handle the information.
So also people new to human design are welcome to come, especially
Well,
if you already are on
yeah.
the path of your experiment.
If it feels right for you, then you'll get something from it. That's the thing, isn't it? As if your strategy and authority are bringing you to this course, then there is something in it for you. And you might not necessarily know what it is straight away, but it might be a few months later, a couple of years later. It's like, oh, yes, that now it's landed. And you've got that, and who knows where that will take you. I mean, that's one of our things is we always want to know, if I do this, will I get that? Will I get that? And that's not our gift. We don't know why we do what we do. So if your strategy and authority says come do it, then you'll be very, very welcome.
And especially this course can be very eye-opening also for professionals in human design, or people who are wondering whether they want to study cosmology. This is a great opportunity, guys, for you to tap into each of the modules of the full cosmology course with finding out synthesized, highly synthesized information. So you're welcome to join wherever you are in your experiment. And thank you for this presentation and
Thank you.
for this invitation to this course with 7 modules. And those for which this is correct will be there, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, indeed. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you so much for asking me along to have a chat about it.
Yeah. Well, Veronica from Human Design Rave Festival, bringing you one of the goodies from the festival, Bambaji, with her offering. Thank you for your attention and speak to you soon. Bye for now.